Alright, so I just come outside. I got all my checker brunette mock-ups completed, sent to customers. Everybody approved the mock-ups, so they will now go into production. So now I'm kind of just gonna spend the rest of my day and come out here in the shop and just hang out with Doug, see what all he has going on. There's the ramp truck and Hoogie and Brewster. But yeah, we're gonna see what Doug has going on.
I'm currently frustrated because this car is disgusting and I hate working on nasty race cars. But anyhow, transmission's coming out. And I'm not even in the dirtiest part. Well, got her out. About to clean it up. As you can see, it's already been repaired once. And then we got a new crack. So, clean it up, see what we're dealing with. Alright, so you can see right here. Excuse my dirty fingers. This thing's disgusting from all the oil that's leaked out. But the crack starts here, comes all the way up, and ends right about there. Can't really see it on the camera. And then it starts back here and travels right about to there. So chances are the previous repair just wasn't done right, and they didn't drill it and heat it. So on this cast stuff, you got to preheat it and V it out real nice, and then that way you can go back and buff all this down nice and flat. The only spot that I'm worried about is going to be getting up in this area where we got a bolt hole, mounting hole, and then in this area where the bell housing has to sit. There's not a lot of meat right there to get a hold of, so we're gonna have to hope and pray we can get it welded up. Plan on taking this to work with you tomorrow and welding it at the shop where I'll have a torch, and I can preheat this cast and get it nice and warm so it doesn't do like this and crack. Almost willing to bet that's what happened, is this crack started after the weld was done just because they didn't know any better. But it is what it is at this point. We're just going to fix it, throw it back in the car, and hopefully the rain holds off and we can go down to Sumter. Welcome back to another video. Didn't get any racing done this weekend, so we had plans to go to Lakeview and drive a fella's modified. Lakeview rained out, and then our backup plan was to go to Sumter and run the Thunder Bomber. That fell through. They rained out on Friday night. Or they canceled the race for Saturday on Friday night. And then we had plans to go to Lawrence, and the chance of rain went up, so we decided not to go there with the Thunder Bomber. Not really the most ideal thing to do. Their rules are a little bit different, so they can weigh like 3,000 pounds instead of 3,200 pounds. And then they have another class that runs with them called Thunder Bomber Extreme, and they weigh like 2,600 pounds. So I'm not sure if it would have been a good fit for us. That kind of steers away from going there. So then Friday, late Friday, we decided maybe we'll go to East Lincoln. Talked around and found out that you need a lot more gear than what I have to go to East Lincoln. My buddy Tracy from work, he actually offered me a gear, but I didn't even have the transmission back in this car yet. It's still not back in it. So instead of throwing this thing together half tail, we decided to, because they still had a chance of rain too. I think they ended up getting the race in, but I decided to hold off going up there and just take the weekend off, which was worth the time to take off because now I can get this car back together right. As y'all can see, little massaging on the nose. If y'all saw in the video, the nose is all wonky and stuff, so hopefully now it's level. Haven't put it on the ground yet because still have a jack under the back of the motor, but hopefully I got the nose back leveled out so it looks a little better. And still got to get decals on. Christian got my decals to me in time. Just sucks because the rain kind of ruined all our plans for the weekend. However, like I say, gonna be able to get this car done right, don't have to rush it, and we'll be taking it to Friendship, weather pending. Just kidding. We're going to be going to Friendship with this car in 2 weekends. So we'll be back at Lakeview on the 9th with a stock V8. I haven't even unloaded it yet, just put a tarp on it. And I've had the Thunder Bomber in the shop working on it. So there's a few things that I got to get done on this thing. A trailing arm mount, the frame side for the upper trailing arms. The bolt holes are welded out just like the stock V8 was. So I'm going to go in there, tack me some washers to get my pinion angle set. Then obviously I got to get the transmission back in it. Already swapped the gear. I got to get a water temperature gauge in this thing. For some reason the water temperature gauge doesn't work. So got to get one, put it in there. And that should be about it. Not too bad. So there is a bar in the cage I'd like to put in on the right side. So technically it's legal. It's got a diagonal bar and a bar across the bottom. I'd like to put a bar across the top just to tie that cage in just a little bit more. And then there's some suspension work I want to do. I want to put a couple rounds in the right front to maybe put rounds in the right front, because I've got no rounds in the right front right now. It's just bottomed out on the spring cup. Which it looked okay on scales, but I would like to, I'd like to put a couple rounds in the right front, and it's a chore to do on these things. I understand why my dad used to bitch and complain about it. So, I'm gonna take the front suspension back apart, put a couple rounds in the right front, and, maybe then I can take that wheel spacer off the left rear. So, I think it's really close. We, just gotta fine tune it now. Felt really good at Lakeview. But on a slicker racetrack, I think we're going to need a little bit more drive in that left rear to tighten the car up. So, yeah, we're about to get this transmission thread back up. I'll flip it around, show y'all real quick. I did end up welding it, and then I put a coat of JB weld on top just to make sure that we're not going to have any leaks. This is just my little security blanket, my insurance, whatever you want to call it. So, Tay-Tay, finally getting out of bed. She got her Alani. She's addicted to those things. Yeah, then we're gonna get to work. All right, got the transmission back in. Now, since I've got the drive shaft out, I'm gonna check my pinion angle. And I gotta fix the upper mounts for the upper trailing arms. All right, so the way I like to check my pinion angle is I'll take my angle finder, get it right here, zero it. I can get it to 0. Alright, now that I got it zeroed, or within, 0.1 right here. So now I know that the angle finder is zeroed on the transmission, and then we'll go back to the rear end, and we'll check it there, and then we'll minus those two. So basically, we'll be able to find our pinion angle by minusing the angle from the transmission to the angle of the gear. So right now, you can see I've got about 3.5 degrees of pinion angle, which isn't nearly enough. So I'm going to take me a ratchet strap, because like I said, I'm pretty sure these upper trailing arm mount bolt, like the mounting holes are walled out. So I'll take a ratchet strap, hook it here, and then pull the axle forward and see if my pinion angle changes any. Alright, so now got my ratchet strap pulling that trailing arm forward. I've got about 7 degrees of pinion angle, which is about what I want. And I decided to move it to the yoke, but you can go off the center here, off the rear end, and it's, get it back on there right. It's about the same right there too. So if your drive shaft's in the car, I like going to here, but since I got the drive shaft out, I can get a true pinion angle reading coming off the yoke. 6.7 degrees, that's pretty close. I like about 5 to 7, somewhere in that neighborhood. So now I'm gonna go up here and weld some washers so these bolts stay in place on the upper trailing arms. Alright guys, so it's kind of hard to video some of the stuff I had going on working on this Thunder Bomber. So just an update on what we did is we fixed the transmission, got the ear water back on, got the pinion angle set. I think the pinion angle was off a little bit. Got all the decals on it. They turned out all right. Putting decals on a beat up body is kind of difficult, but good enough for me. Basically matches the stock V8 car. The purple's a little different. It's got stripper glitter purple on this car. This is actually what I wanted on the stock V8, but we ended up going with chrome on it because that's what Christian had in stock. So I actually really like this purple stripper glitter. Kind of gives a pink and teal and everything else with it. So happy with decals turned out for what I'm working with. And I did some work on the front end. Took a little bit of cast out of the left front to open up the caster split a little bit. So now basically all I got to do on this car is really nothing. It's ready to go to the racetrack. I got to put a water temperature gauge in it. That's the only thing I got to do before I can take this to a racetrack and go race it. I noticed that practice, we never got any temperature in the motor. I did check, make sure there's water in it, so that wasn't the problem. But put a water temperature gauge in this thing, or maybe just look and make sure it's hooked up. But right now we're about to swap the cars out, get the stock V8 back in the garage. Got to wash it and go through it. I might have a couple ideas to see if we can find a little bit more speed for this coming weekend. Lord knows we got to find it. But I'm working on trying to find a gear, and I think that'll help us a lot in that car. But anyhow, make sure you drop down, like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. Check out the Checker Brunette for all your custom racing apparel or nothing but dirt apparel. And yeah, catch y'all in the next one.